few months ago, I finally moved out of my parents'. I managed to find this beautiful apartment complex for shockingly cheap in my area, and so I jumped at the opportunity. The neighbors were quiet and kind. The building itself was relatively central, so I could easily walk to and from. Everything was great. Then the cat started. It was a couple of weeks after I moved in. I have insomnia, so I usually stay up late, just scrolling through Twitter, watching YouTube, or something along those lines. This all to say I was up late, nothing out of the ordinary, when I started to hear meowing. Like the kind of endless meowing of a cat in heat, which is strange because I don't own a cat. I shrug it off and assume it's just coming from outside my window. Might make falling asleep a little annoying, but it's whatever. The next day, I ran into one of my neighbors and asked if they heard any animals outside last night. According to them, it was dead quiet all night. Okay, a bit weirder, but it was late. They were probably just asleep or something. Again, nothing out of the ordinary. Then it happens again the next night. It sounded harsher this time, angrier. My window was closed this time, but it was louder than last time. That's when the scratching began. Something was scratching at my door. I live alone, with no pets. Needless to say, I was a little freaked out. I didn't sleep that night. My heart was in my throat, and I couldn't tell you why. I mean, it's just a cat, right? Maybe I left my door cracked by mistake, or it made a hole in one of my window screens and crawled in. But no, I was in a panic sweat until morning. I don't know when it stopped. I think I might have fallen asleep. I'm not entirely sure. I checked my door the next morning to find the bottom scratched to hell and back, and I easily spent the next full day throwing my house upside down to find nothing. No cat, no dog, no raccoon, no animal at all. My door was locked and all my windows were shut as well. Needless to say, I was a little concerned and very creeped out. This continued for a week. Sometimes it sounded angry, sometimes loud, sometimes quiet, but the scratching was always there, and I could never muster up the courage to actually stand up and go see what the hell it was. But I had an idea. I decided if I can't work up the balls to open my door and just see what was on the other side, I could at least get a glimpse. So I duct taped my phone to the wall outside my door, left it on selfie record, and kept the light in my hallway on for the night. If I could catch whatever the hell it was, then I'd have at least something to go on if I had to call animal control, because my door was looking mighty ugly at this point. Again, the meowing and scratching continued, and I was glued to my bed. If you ever suffered from sleep paralysis or had a night terror, those are the closest feelings I can describe to what I was having. I wanted to jump up and run to my door, tear it open, and throttle what was on the other side. Bad enough I'd most likely have to replace my damn door before I moved out, but I lost a week of sleep and was starting to get annoying, but I couldn't. I couldn't yell, I couldn't raise my arms. I just lay there, staring at my wall, hoping for sleep to take me. It didn't. The meowing and scratching went on for what felt like an eternity, but I suspect was probably just an hour or two, before a screeching cry came from my door, and it began to rattle like someone was banging it, trying to pry it open. This snapped me out of my stupor, and I rushed over and slammed myself into the door. Whatever the fuck was on the other side, I did not want to open the door to see anymore. I sat there all night. At one point, it tried to turn the doorknob, but outside, some rattling, it didn't move. I didn't sleep. Its screeching kept up the whole night, and when the sun finally came up, it stopped. I opened the door only to find my phone smashed to bits. I think it knew I was recording it, and freaked out. Now, a sane person might move out. They might run screaming from this apartment, never to be seen in this area again. I am not that person. This is my first apartment, and I'm not going to take the nagging from my dad about how I got so homesick I made up an excuse just to come home. No. Instead, I bought a bolt, and I installed that bolt onto my bedroom door, alongside about 6 other locks. I also borrowed an old hardwood door from my parents, saying I liked how it looked and wanted it for my bedroom. That was a couple of weeks back at this point. It still happens every night. Not as aggressive as when I tried to record it, but certainly not as calm as it was before. It's gotten to a point where I'm able to just sleep through it if it's a calm night. I'm also glad I got those locks, as I think it's tried the doorknob every other night, and it might have gotten in if I hadn't. As for the phone, I wasn't able to salvage much. I got a lot of data out, but all my camera roll was corrupted. I managed to recover maybe a half dozen pictures, and a measly 30 seconds of staticky, hard-to-see footage. And whatever I saw on the footage wasn't a person, and it definitely wasn't an animal. I know I should move out, call the cops, animal control, an exorcist, anyone, but I don't want to. Whatever's trying to get into my room is not around during the day, and I'm just not going to take the risk of being outside my room after dusk. Most importantly, this is something new, and I want to know exactly what it is. I have some plans to try and record it and document it. Obviously, cameras won't work if it's smart enough to know my phone was recording it. Maybe I'll get some nanny cams. At first I was scared. Now I'm intrigued.